Hey everyone, so today I'm going to do a really comprehensive review and comparison of the Naked and the Naked 2 palette. So the first difference that you can notice between the two palettes is obviously the packaging. The Naked palette, the original, is a cardboard base with a felt or suede texture that wraps around the outside, and that's throughout the entire packaging of it. While the Naked 2 palette is a hard metal case. You can actually hear it when I click on it, and it's completely metal throughout. So it's really sturdy, and when you close it, it makes that noise to let you know that the two clasps have completely closed and the palette is 100% sturdy and ready to be handled with whatever roughness that you're ready to show it. Naked, the original palette basically snaps shut through a magnet. And so it's not the most sturdy of packaging, and I wouldn't feel comfortable traveling with it just because you don't know. The magnet can get demagnetized, and anything that you have in your suitcase can easily kind of get in through the cracks and open the packaging, exposing your shadows. And so that's why, in terms of packaging, I think the Naked 2 is definitely preferred over the Naked 1. I feel completely and 100% safe traveling with this palette, knowing that it would be pretty difficult to get through this casing because it's so hard. And knowing that there's that sound to reassure me that it's completely closed just makes me feel good, and knowing that it's going to be pretty much impossible for things to get in there and open it up. So now that I'm going to open up the palettes and reveal the products that are inside. So I think another thing that really wins me favor with the Naked 2 palette is the size of the mirror. It's a full-length mirror and it's as big as the actual palette itself, while the original Naked palette has a small mirror. And I like the large mirror because you don't have to hold the product up close in order to fit into this small space. You can hold the products as far or close to you as you would like. Because the mirror is so big, there's so many things that you can do while applying your eyeshadow. And I think as a general rule of thumb, it's always preferred to have a bigger mirror than a smaller mirror. That way you can pretty much use this mirror to apply your makeup for your entire face and not have to put the palette down and look for other mirrors to apply face or lip products. You can just put up the products while still using this mirror. So functionally, it's much better than to have such a small mirror like in the original Naked palette. In terms of the colors itself, I would say that although the two palettes have some duplicate or similar shades, that generally the entire palettes themselves are quite different from one another. So in the second Naked palette, this color right here called Booty Call is pretty much a dupe of Virgin from the original palette, and Half Baked is a duplicate that are present by the same name in both palettes. And of course you have similar colors such as Busted and Hustle that are very comparable to each other, as well as Snakebite and Smog. Although I think Snakebite is more on the taupe and beige side compared to Smog, which is more on the brown side. So the reason I say that the two palettes are completely different is that the Naked 1 palette is clearly a warm toned palette, while the Naked 2 palette is clearly a cool tone palette. The Naked 1 has a lot more brown and gold undertones, while the Naked 2 is a lot more taupe and gray undertones. And I think that they really accommodate different skin types, different skin tones, and just the different ways in which someone would consider what an everyday or neutral palette would be. So I personally, if I had to pick between the two, I would pick the Naked 2 palette because I am personally a cool tone girl. I'm MAC NC 25 to 30. And so I can pull off the colors in the Naked 2 palette pretty much on an everyday basis because they alternate between dark and light, and also they alternate between matte, satin, and shimmer textures, in which I can mix and match and really work the different colors for different everyday looks. The Naked original palette doesn't work so well for me because of the warm tone. It brings out the yellow in my skin, and so it makes my skin look a lot more yellow than it actually is. And also, a lot of the colors are just too dramatic for me to wear on an everyday basis. Pretty much anything after Half Baked I don't generally use just because they're a lot more dramatic than I would prefer for an everyday look. And that's largely due to the fact that it is a warm palette. Warm colors show a lot more vibrant and bright and dark on cool tone skin than on warm tone skin. And so just that sheer factor alone, I think that in terms of value, it is much better for me to get the second Naked palette where I can use pretty much all the colors on an everyday basis, while the original Naked palette I can use only half the colors. And also what I like about the second Naked palette is that it comes with this dual-ended brush that is again incredibly travel friendly. It comes with a flat side, which is really ideal for packing on eyeshadow color, and then it has a fluffy side, a dome shaped, great for blending and crease work, and as well as applying highlight color. In the original Naked palette was a dual-ended eyeliner pencil, which I have already used up. One side was black, one side was brown. Although it was convenient to have eyeliners because usually that's what I use to go along with my eyeshadow, I actually much rather prefer the dual-ended brush, because that way I pretty much don't have to bring any other brushes. This brush fits in that slot conveniently, and so I can take just one palette with me when I travel, and pretty much I have a set. If I can get away with not really bringing eyeliner with the Naked 2 palette because I can use the matte black as eyeliner, or a gray in here, or brown to do the crease work, and also just to emphasize the eye, so I can actually get away with not using eyeliner. In the original Naked palette, the black is actually shimmery, and so I don't think it works as well as eyeliner. And I think the fact that the second Naked palette has a matte black also wins favor with me, because you can use it on an everyday basis, while a shimmery black you can't really use, let's say, for work or for school, because it would just be too much. And so if I had to pick between one palette, I would personally pick the Naked 2 palette because it's what works best for me. It's a cool tone palette, and so it's really designed for girls like me. And if you're a warm tone girl, then I would suggest the Naked 1 palette, because that's what's going to work well with your skin tone. I think if you are an everyday girl, you don't necessarily need both palettes. I think you just need the one that's going to accommodate your skin tone, and that should be plenty of colors for you to create everyday neutral looks with. But if you are a makeup artist, I think it is important for you to get both palettes, because I think the two palettes are so different. I don't think the Naked 2 palette would work as well on a warm tone girl. So if you have warm tone clients and you only have the Naked 2 palette, then it wouldn't really suit their needs, and vice versa. And I think because they're designed for girls with different skin tones, it is important if you're a makeup artist to have this entire range of colors to work with. And so I hope you all liked the review. I think one thing for you to consider is that the Naked 1 palette is cheaper by a few bucks than the Naked 2 palette. So if you are on a budget and you're a few dollars short, then that might affect the decision of which palette you're going to get. But I think overall, both of them are really great palettes. They both have colors that are really unique, that are dual tone, that I don't think that the average neutral palettes really have. For example, in the Naked 2 palette, this Tease is a grayish taupe with purple undertones, and I think that's one of the most beautiful and rarest colors I've ever seen, and I haven't really seen a lot of dupes for it. In the Naked 1 palette, I think the Sin is gorgeous because it's a champagne color with like light berry undertone, but it just has that hint of shimmer, and without it being really gold. I think there's so many gold shimmery colors out there that I think a champagne berry color is really unique and something you don't see very often. And so I think both palettes are a good investment. It just depends on preference. And again, it just depends on what you want out of the packaging. I hope you guys like the review. Please comment, subscribe, and ask questions. And if you like more videos from me, please hit the subscribe button and also like this video. I'll see you guys next time.